bal girivardhari. Gopi jana vallabha girivardhari. Yashodanandana braja jana ranjana. Yashodanandana braja jana ranjana. Yamuna tira vanachari. Yamuna tira vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi jana vallabha girivardhari. Gopi jana vallabha girivardhari. Yashodanandana braja jana ranjana. Yashodanandana braja jana ranjana. Yamuna tira vanachari. Yamuna tira vanachari. Antarashima Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samveda Bhaktavinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're reading from chapter 18, conclusion, perfection, renunciation, text 74. Okay. Sanjay Uvacha Iti aham vasudevasya pathasya cha mahatmanaha samadvardam imam asrisam sambedam imam asrosam adbhuta naroma hasanam. Sanjay Uvacha Iti aham vasudevasya pathasya mahatmanaha Iti aham vasudevasya pathasya mahatmanaha samadvidam imam aveshyosham adbhutanam romahasanam. Sanjaya Uvacha Iti aham vasudevasya pathasya cha mahatmanaha samvedam imam avnustasam adbhutanam romahasanam. You want to try? Sanjaya Uvacha Itiham Vasudevasya Pathasya Mahatmanaha Samvedam Imam Ashusam Adbhutam Romaharshanam. Sanjaya Uvacha Iti Aham Vasudevasya Pathasya Mahatmanaha Samvedamimam Ashusam Adbhuta Romaharshanam. You want to try? You know how to do? Okay. You want to try, mother? Sanjaya Uvacha Iti Anam Vasudevasya Patascha Mahatmanaha Sambadamimam Arsusam Abhuta Romahasanam. Okay, word for word. Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjay said, Iti, thus, Aham, I, Vasudevasya, of Krishna, Pathasya, and Arjun, Cha, also, Mahatmanaha, of the great soul, Sambadam, discussion, Imam, this, Asrosam, having heard, Adibhutam, wonderful, Romaharshanam, making the hair stand on end. Translation and Srila Prabhupada's purport. Sanjay said, thus I have heard the conversations of two great souls, Krishna and Arjun, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. You can try and repeat after me. Sanjaya said, thus having heard the conversations of two great souls, Krishna and Arjun, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. Srila Prabhupada's purport. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra inquired from his secretary Sanjaya what happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The entire study was related to the heart of Sanjaya by the grace of his spiritual master Vyasa. He thus explained that the theme of the battlefield, the conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between two great souls had never taken place before and would never take place again. It was wonderful because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking about himself and his energies to the living entity, Arjuna, a great devotee of the Lord. And if we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. Sanjaya realized this, and thus he began to understand it. He related the conversation to Dhritarashtra. Now it is concluded that wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory. Om Agyanti Mandasya Gana Gana Salakya Chaksu Militamina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Stapita Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayine Nivrishesha Shunyavadi Paschachai Satayine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Sivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So one of his lectures, Srila Prabhupada, he said, modern scientists haven't figured out about the television in the heart. Like Sanjaya, he was in Delhi and he could envision the Battle of Kurukshetra taking place. So Delhi is like 4 hours away from the Kurukshetra. But he could envision that by the grace of Vyas. He could envision what was going on in the Battle of Kurukshetra. So modern science haven't figured it out, the television and heart works. But there's a higher science to what we perceive in the outside world. There's a higher science which, practicing spiritual life, you can envision things in the heart which modern scientists cannot conceive. So there's a Srila Prabhupada lecture, Krishna's separated energies. So in the Prabhupada it speaks about energies and how Krishna, the Supreme Lord, he revealed himself to Arjuna, the living entity, who is limited, and Krishna is unlimited. So this conversation is very unique. It never happened in the time of history. If we understand the history of Bhagavad Gita, so the life of Manu is 70 Yuga cycles, 72 Yuga cycles. So 4 Yugas equals, the Kali Yuga is 432,000 years, the Dwapara Yuga is 864,000 years, the Treta Yuga is 1,296,000 years, and the Satya Yuga is 1,728,000 years. So multiply this, the calculation is given in the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada gives in the 4th chapter. A life of Manu is 305,300,000 years, and 120,400,000 have passed. So the Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Ishvaku, who was in the time of Lord Ramachandra, and he was extinct for 2 million years. So it's re-spoken by Lord Krishna 5,000 years ago on the battlefield of Kurukshetra to re-establish a disciplined section of Bhagavad Gita, how it was spoken. So from that we can understand that Bhagavad Gita is not like any religious book. It's a book which applies to all living entities. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, aham bija padapita, that sarvaishon yonasya kunteya mitu sambhavantiya, that I am the father of all living entities. So Krishna is not speaking about just humans, he's speaking about all living entities. Animals, beasts, aquatics, all living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. The trees, like that. So so Prabhupada explains in his lecture how he says Krishna is explaining himself. God is explaining what God is. That is real knowledge. If you speculate on God, it is not possible to understand Him. God, Krishna, is the beginning of. In the beginning of this chapter said, Asitya Swayam Sangram Imam Yata Jajat Chach. This is from 7.4 Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada is speaking. If you hear from me, you can know me in full. Samagram means complete. Whatever our subject there is for study and knowledge, God is the sum and total of everything related to that subject. Krishna begins to explain himself by referring to his material energy. Because we have no information of God, but practically we see that the vast land, the vast water, ocean, the vast sky, fire, and so many material things, including mind, ego. Everyone is thinking, I am something. That is false ego, ahankar. I am Indian, I am American, I am African, I am Brahman, I am Kshatriya, I am this, I am that. This thinking is ego, but it is false ego. and it is out of Krishna's 8 material energies. The beginning of philosophy is to ask, where has water come from? Where has land come from? Where has fire come from? These are natural inquiries. Where has the sky with its many millions and millions of stars come from? These are the inquiries of the intelligent person. They are the beginning of philosophical life. Thoughtful human beings gradually inquire into understanding the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Krishna is explaining himself. I am like this. Unfortunately, will not understand Krishna as he explains himself, but will speculate on what God is. That is our disease. Krishna is explaining himself, but we do not accept his statements. We deny the existence of God. And we accept God without any head or legs. That is our disease. Therefore, Krishna has explained in previous verse 7.3, Manushyanam saseshu kashi yatata siddhaha yatana abhisiddhanam kashmi vedi tattvataha. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Out of many millions and millions of persons, only a few are serious to understand. What is the aim of life? What is God? What is my relationship to Him? Almost everyone is interested in the bodily conception of life, like cats and dogs. This is their position, not only now, always. This is the material condition. But somebody out of millions tries to understand, to make his life perfect. Perfection means to understand our real constitutional position, to understand that we are not the material body, but our spirit soul, Brahman, Brahma Jnana. Knowledge of Brahman or spirit is a perfection of knowledge. Brahma Bhuta Pashanatma Na Sochiti Na Kanchati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhakti Labhate Param. One who is transcendently situated at once realizes Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state he attends pure devotion service unto me. Bhagavad 18:54. Sometimes the Mayavadi philosophers say, by bhakti one gains Brahma Jnana and becomes liberated and merges into Brahman. They say bhakti is meant for the less intelligent class. Their accusation is like that, but that is not a fact. Even the lower stages of bhakti Kanishta Adhikari is higher than the Mayavadi position. A person in the lower stage of bhakti does not clearly understand what is God, but by the instruction of the spiritual master, that person is engaged in the service of the Lord. This morning I was explaining deity worship. Here is God on the altar. Here is God factually. But the Kanishta Adhikari in the lower stage of devotional service has no realization that here is God. But if he accepts even the theoretically that here is God, then he becomes more advanced than the Mayavadis who think. Then he becomes more advanced than Mayavadis who thinks of God without hands or legs. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that for one who has undergone training by Mayavad philosopher, his life is finished because he'll never be able to advance in devotional service, and that is the ultimate goal of life. After realization of Brahman, when one is actually on the Brahman platform, Aham Brahmasmi, then the symptom is Na Sochiti Na Kanchati, no more lamentation and no more aspiration. Then one can see everyone on the equal level, Samma Sarveshu Bhuteshu, because he does not see the outward body. He does not see, here is a Hindu, here is a Muslim, here is a Christian, here is an Indian, he is American, he is a black man, here is a white man. No, he sees within. Vidya Vinashin Sampanne, Brahmana Gavi Hastini, Sudi Cheva Sapakcha, Pandita Samardarshana. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision. A learned, a gentle Brahmana, a cow, elephant, dog, and dog-eater outcast. That is sama sarveshu bhuteshu, equal to all living beings. We cannot artificially become sama sarveshu bhuteshu. We will see bodily distinctions. The United Nations has trying for the last 40 years, but there is no unity. It is not possible on the bodily platform. But on the spiritual platform, there is unity. In our Krishna consciousness movement, you'll find people of different nations, different colors, and different religions, and they are all united in the chanting of Hare Krishna. This is the United Nations, no distinction, and this is not artificial, this is practical. People are trying to become united, but there is not possible on the bodily platform. The bodily concept of life can be rejected on the spiritual platform. We are in the material world and we see stone and wood, earth and water and fire. Krishna mentions the things we can see, earth, water, fire, air and ether, and he mentions the mind which we cannot see. The mind is subtle. We all know we have a mind. I have a mind, you have a mind, but you cannot see my mind and I cannot see your mind. We also cannot see other. We cannot see either, but we can understand that either in present or by sound. Clapping hands, sound is the indication of ether because sound travels through ether. Finer than the ether is the mind. Finer than the mind is our intelligence and the ego, and finer than the intelligence and the ego is the soul. So how can you see soul? You cannot even see the more subtle material things, but the soul is there. When the soul departs from the body, we see only the earth, the water, and so on. That makes up the body. The dead man is lying there, and we see the elements of the body, but we do not see the mind, intelligence, ego, but the carrying of the soul. People generally have no knowledge of how the transmigration of the soul takes place. We think only about the gross elements. That is called jada darshana, seeing only on the material elements. We have no sukshma darshana, or no ability to see subtle things. Although mind exists, we cannot see it. Then how we can see the soul? That is the defect of modern education. To see what is beyond your sense perception, you have to hear. There are two kinds of knowledge, by practical experience or direct perception, by hearing from authority. Shruti means hearing from authority. For example, although we know the mind exists, we cannot see it, but the Shastra or scriptures confirm it. We are hearing from Krishna, that is called Shruti. Similarly, Krishna says in 2nd chapter, Dehi nosmin yata deha, komadam yavam jara, tata dehantara prapti, dira tata namuyati. As the embodied soul continually passes from this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Asim dehi, within this body is the proprietor of the body. You have to learn that by hearing. If you want to see immediately, let me see where it is in the body. Your so-called scientific research cannot help you. You have to learn it simply by hearing from authority. That is called Shruti Pranamam, evidence of Shruti. Vedic knowledge is called Shruti. You have to learn things beyond your perception by hearing from authorities. Vedic knowledge is authority. We do not accept the Vedas as authority. Why do we accept the Vedas as authority? Because they present perfect knowledge. I have discussed many times in the authority of Vedas. For example, although animal stool is impure, the Vedas say that cow dung is pure. So we accept that. This is Shruti Pranam. Shruti Pranam means that real knowledge, perfect knowledge, is coming from Supreme Perfect, Krishna. Perfect knowledge is given after creation. Brahma, the first created being, was given perfect knowledge by Krishna, the original spiritual master. From Krishna everything is born, everything has emanated, everything has come, everything comes. From him, including the first engineer of the universe, Lord Brahma. Actually, Lord Brahma does not come directly from Krishna. He comes from Garbhodakasha Vishnu, and Krishna is the origin of Garbhodakasha Vishnu. Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, I am the source of everything. Bhagavad Gita 10.8. Sarvasya means that from him come Mahavishnu, Garbhodakasha Vishnu, Sirakasha Vishnu, Narayan, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradumna, and these are the Vishnu Tattva expansions of Krishna. In the material world, from him come Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, and from Brahma comes the material many demigods, and so on. Therefore, he is the source of everything. This is the point, and knowledge also comes from him. The Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1 explains, Janmasi yata yata itaras chaita abhigya. The original person from whom everything is born knows everything perfectly, indirectly and directly. Where did he get the knowledge? He is Swarat, independent. He does not have to get any knowledge from anyone else. Everyone gets knowledge from him, but he hasn't got to take knowledge from anyone. The verse continues, Tenne Brahma Hidya Adi Kaviya. The Supreme Person gave knowledge to the Adi Kavi. Adi Kavi means Lord Brahma, the first learned man. Our conception of life and creation is not like of those who follow Darwin. They think they'll get knowledge from monkeys, but we do not take knowledge from monkeys. We do not keep ourselves in darkness. If you take knowledge from monkeys, then you remain always like monkeys. You cannot advance. You get knowledge directly from Krishna, the most perfect. Brahma is generated from Vishnu, so the first living creature is perfect person within this material world. Got instruction at the beginning of creation. The beginning of creation is not ignorance. The beginning of creation is first-class knowledge. That is perfect conception. In today's verse, Krishna is telling us how to think of the material elements. Material scientists, soil experts study the earth. Where should be mine? Where is the gold? Where is the coal? But they do not know where these things came from. Here Krishna explained, Bina me bina prakrita. This is my energy. And any thoughtful man will wonder how the different chemicals came manifest. Here is the answer. They came from Krishna. Krishna says that the elements are bina prakriti. He is separated energy. I am speaking and it is being recorded. If the recording is played on my absence, it will vibrate exactly the same sound. So that is my energy, bina prakriti, separate energy from me. You have to understand like that. Everything is the energy of God, Krishna, but this material world means we are missing Krishna. Where has this energy come from? That point we are missing. If the recording is playing, someone who does not know my voice will not know who is speaking, but one who knows my voice can understand that this is coming from Prabhupada or Swamiji. Similarly, the material energy is there, but because we have forgotten the source of the energy, or we do not know that the source of the energy, we take material things as final. That is our ignorance. The Prakriti material world is composed of the three of these things: earth, water, fire, and so on. Where have these come from? Krishna explains, they are my energies. To understand Krishna means one must know about earth, what earth is, what water is, what fire is, what air is, and what sky is, what mind is, and what intelligence is, what ego is, and we should know where these material things are coming from. come from? Scientists theorize that water is a combination of chemicals, hydrogen and oxygen. But where do hydrogen and oxygen come from? That they cannot answer. The chemicals exist because of God's Achinta Shakti, or inconceivable power. We too have Achinta Shakti because we are each minute part of God. Keshagra satabhagasya satasya kalpatasya cha jivana suksma supasya asyankalpito iha chetakana. If we divide the tip of a hair into 100 parts, and then take one of these parts and divide it again to 100 parts, that very fine division is the size of but one of the numberless living entities. They are all Chinta Shakti, particles of spirits, not matter. The soul has a size, but with our material eyes, we can see only gross things. The subtle things we cannot understand, so we have to understand from the Shastra. The Shruti, the Bhagavad Gita 3:42 says, Indriyani para ahu, indriyana para manaha, manaschachu para buddhi, buddhi na parastu sa. The working senses are superior to dull matter. The mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is higher than the mind. And he, the soul, even higher than the intelligence. When I see a man, I see his body, his eyes, his ears, and his hands and legs. That is gross vision. But finer than the gross senses is the mind, which controls the senses we do not see. Is going okay? Explanation? So you can see how Prabhupada is giving a nice explanation behind the Siddhanta. How we have to explain, accept the line of parampara. In the material world, the example is given just like there's sun, there's darkness. So, the truth is always existing at all times. Is whether we accept what the real truth is. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai. Our connection to Krishna is very close. It's like people don't just say shine, they say sunshine. So our connection to Krishna is like sun and sunshine. We are part and parcel of Krishna. So when we are suffering in this world, Krishna feels our suffering. So in order to help us, he comes himself, but then he sends his associates to also help us. Like Lord Chaitanya appeared 500 years back, he's Krishna himself. He came in a golden form. Wherever he went throughout India, everyone became devotees of Krishna by seeing him. So in coming down, Lord Chaitanya, he instructed the 6 Goswamis, who were his personal associates, to write many books and to re-establish the holy places. And then in time, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the picture is on the right, he's the one who's started the Hare Krishna movement again. He defeated the 13 upper sampradayas. After Lord Chaitanya departed, people were not following the proper teachings. So they were trying to, like in a temple we do morning program, right? 4:30 Mangalati, and so they were trying to not follow that and take to the direct teachings in their own way. So that led to deviation. So in this way, the 13 upper sampradayas came in. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he defeated his upper sampradayas by writing 100 books. And he found Mayapur Dham. And then he had a son his son is there on the second picture on the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That was his son. So, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Lord Jagannath told him, I sent you to spread this mission. So why are you not doing it? So he was a judge. So he had 13 children. He could not get time to spread the mission in a big way. So then he asked Lord Jagannath, what should I do? So Lord Jagannath said, pray to Bimal Devi. Bimal Devi is the main deity in Jagannath Puri, which is an expansion of Parvati, or she's the main deity, where all the Mahaprasad of Jagannath gets offered. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed to Bimal Devi. And then he had a son called Bimal Prasad. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur was born, Rath Yatra was going. Then he stopped outside the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Then the wife of Bhaktivinoda Thakur brought the baby out, and Lord Jagannath's garland fell on the baby. So they could understand this was a great personality. And there was an umbilical cord around his neck. So anyway, that's the... so the teachings how we are getting it now is in a simplified way that we can digest it. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's the one who established a line of purity of spreading this Krishna consciousness throughout the world. So he chanted 1 billion names of Hare Krishna. Like 9 years, he was doing 192 rounds every day. So in his quotes in the Nectar Instruction Prabhupada, he quotes Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying that if someone does not do 64 rounds, he is not considered a human being. So Prabhupada, he tried to get his followers to do that in America, but they found it difficult. Prabhupada studied the Western mentality, and he could see they're mostly into passion ignorance. They cannot sit for many hours. So then Prabhupada minimizes to 16 rounds. So 16 rounds is doable. But even you can't do that much, you can build up over time. You start with 2 rounds. Every Ekadashi you can add 1 round. Or every month you can add 1, like that. You build up. And you come and associate with the devotees and hear the lectures. The more you understand about how there's a higher reality than the reality you're living in, which has got much more taste than the world we are living in, then in time you can enter that world by taking to the chanting of Hare Krishna, seeing through the eyes of scriptures. So Prabhupada gave a higher vision. Like in the early years, the people were affected by the moon landing thing. And Prabhupada had a disciple called Purushottam. And he was into the moon landing. So Prabhupada said they didn't go to the moon. And Prabhupada explained the moon is 1,500,000 miles above the sun. So no one can go above the sun. So it's impossible to go to the moon. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto. And so he left Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, I can understand that he didn't accept what I had to say, but why couldn't he accept what the Shastras have to say? Shastras are directly coming from Krishna. So we can see like this, that if we read Prabhupada's books, we take to the chanting. Actually, reading the books is there to help you to come to the state of chanting the holy name. Because that's the Yuga Dharma in this age, of Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, age of current hypocrisy, life is very short. People are short-lived, they're unlucky, misfortunate, and misguided. Memory is short. So, in other ages, to take to the chanting was very difficult because people had too much opulence. People go to higher planets. Demigods would come here. To take to chanting was very difficult. And he said in Satyug, people wouldn't have faith in chanting the holy name. They would think, better to do austerities in the Himalayas. They would think, how can it be possible to achieve perfection by moving the lips and tongue? So it's not an easy thing to take to the holy name. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, people chant different mantras, but to take to this chanting of Hare Krishna, it takes many 100 lifetimes. But Lord Chaitanya is giving it very easy. So if you take to Lord Chaitanya's teaching, study his life, and then taking to chanting Hare Krishna becomes very easy. And that was one of the things of Srila Prabhupada when he was preaching 30 years in India. People were not supporting him. They had families. And Prabhupada said, give me one son. I'll make him into a Brahman. He can assist me spreading this mission of Krishna consciousness. But they were looking to the West. So then Prabhupada came and he gave the chanting of Hare Krishna to the hippies in America. And they were open for Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So they were bored with all bad habits. Meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. Because they are open for Lord Chaitanya's mercy, they became devotees of Krishna. And they're the ones who assisted Prabhupada in spreading Krishna consciousness throughout the world. So we can see from this the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, the difficulties become easy. And without his mercy, the easy things become difficult. And Lord Chaitanya is living the teachings of Bhagavad Gita for us. So if we study Lord Chaitanya's teachings, we have classes every week here, Saturday, Sunday, and you can get the set Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then you find Krishna consciousness will be easy to take to. So there's things we have to do to practice Krishna consciousness. One thing is to avoid bad association. And the other thing is associate with devotees and read Prabhupada's books. So if we do that, then we find taking to Krishna consciousness becomes very easy. Because Krishna consciousness is only for the serious people. Example can be given, just like if someone wants to enter a law college, he has to do a law degree. If he doesn't do a law degree, he cannot enter a law college. So Krishna consciousness is like study of law. And Prabhupada said in one of the lectures, he said, if one takes to Krishna consciousness, one puts in the position of a judge. Now to be a judge, it takes a long time to study, not easy. But Krishna is so kind that if someone takes to it seriously, he'll put that devotee in position of a judge and he'll give him all the qualifications. So, but then it's up to us also, because Krishna says, everyone is following my path in all respects. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So if we serve the devotees who are serving Krishna, then surrendering to Krishna becomes easy. If we try and approach Krishna directly, it'll take a long time. Example can be given, just like if you want to approach a rich man, he's got everything. You can't approach him. If you please his son, then he may be inclined to see you. If you please his dog, he may be inclined to see you. If you please his secretary, like that. So Krishna's got everything, he doesn't need us. But if he pleases devotees, then he'll be inclined to help us. He'll be inclined to reciprocate with us. Any questions or comments? And this week we're having many programs here. You can look on the board. Temple program. You can see devotees are coming from India to give nice programs. Monks are coming in. So you can come in for the programs in the evening. You can look on the board. It's given in reception. So that's Sadhu Sangha. If you take the Sadhu Sangha, then you'll find you'll enter this Krishna's family in time. There's a lecture Prabhupada said, when you see a picture of Krishna, he's always happy and blissful, with his cows, cowherd boys, gopis, Yamuna, mother and father. You never see Krishna with wrinkles and old age. He's always youthful and happy, blissful. So Prabhupada said, Krishna is saying, come to me, I'll make you happy like me. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Bhagavad Gita ki, Jai.